obviously the morning after, could you just go through what your next couple days are going to be looking like going into the bye? How much will the coaches be in the building when the players are in, and just kind of a sense of what your schedule is?
Yeah, so we gave the players actually Victory Monday today, let them get a little bit extra rest today. Tomorrow and Wednesday we'll have the players in the building. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday they'll be completely off. We'll have some available open gym time, if you would, as far as the weight room and training room. There's absolutely nothing required, per rule, and also we just want to give them some time to refresh. But because a lot of these guys have to stay in town, or all of them have to stay in town, obviously, with the testing on a daily basis, what I found out from a lot of other clubs who've already had their bye weeks is different than previous bye weeks in previous years. There's been a lot of guys coming through the building on the weekend, basically occupying time, getting some body work done, getting extra workout, things of that nature. So we'll make sure we have facilities open for them if that's something they want to do. Coaching-wise, really focusing these next few days on some self-scout internally. We do a little bit of deal. We'll go ahead and we'll have the offense scout the defense and vice versa. Give us a little bit different perspective. Sometimes when you just self-scout yourself, on offense or on defense or on a kicking game within your own schemes, at times you're still too close to it to really see something that an opponent may see. So want to go ahead and take the time to really kind of cross-reference each other and see if we can pick up on something tendency-wise to illuminate something for the coaches to change going forward. And then we want to build into really our next 6 opponents of things we may see schematically, and then also with our younger players really develop them and get guys ready to play in these next 6 games that we go ahead and we have the best plan going forward, give ourselves a little bit of jump start on it.
Just one other thing on the idea of the players being away. I know you mentioned last week that you may give players' families an option, or even the coaches' families an option to come to town, kind of be a part of the testing. Did any of that materialize? Did anyone take you up on that offer?
To be honest with you, I got to check with Ronnie on that. I just announced the team. We talked in a meeting. I just let them know that, hey, listen, if there's someone coming in town, obviously we want to control who's coming in. We want to make sure they're smart about the numbers of people we expose ourselves to. And we want to make sure that on the front end, we make sure that we test and that we make sure we're putting ourselves in the safest environment possible. At the same time, we're realists, that we want to make sure that if something does happen, we're treating it the best way possible and that we're doing it the safest way possible. So, we made it available to the players. I've echoed all the players that if they have someone coming in that need tested, to get with our training staff and talk with Ronnie and make sure we get that arranged on the front end. That's both for this week coming up as well as Thanksgiving the next week. I haven't heard any reports back from our training staff, but I'll double check on that today and see if there's anyone who's been involved in that. At the same time, too, I want to make sure the players know, we're not trying to look over their shoulder and check up on who is someone coming to town. That's not our reason at all. I just want to make sure more of the players, without having specific names, are utilizing what we're offering to them.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
Tom Rock.
Joe, I know you focus a lot on the daily and weekly development and improvement of the players and coaches. I'm wondering if you can talk about where you think you've improved the most as a head coach throughout this past 10 weeks.
I think time usage. Throughout the season, you kind of figure out, what times a week are most efficient to do certain deals. Early in the year, early in the season, I should say, you try to do everything on the front end of the week to be completely ahead of everything. You work ahead a good deal to give yourself a jump start, but you've got to kind of pace your time throughout the week. What I found early on was it was taking away a little bit from my interactions with players. Maybe they'll sit in with different coaching, game planning meetings by trying to bombard everything on the front end of the week and have all the answers. I've kind of pulled back a little bit in terms of everything on the front end and spread it out throughout the rest of the week, and have been able to kind of just time manage a little bit better. I think that's something that's helped me personally a good deal as far as managing each day. Other than that, I think it's just more or less just growing within what I'm doing on a daily basis. The interaction at practice. Like I said, the first experience I had walking on the field as a head coach for any practice was in training camp, and it's a weird feeling walking out there not having one specific position. What I found early in the process is having a plan of who you want to look at on a daily basis, making sure you get eyes on every player at some point in practice and really making sure you're watching everyone's growth, but it's got to be something very planned out and very specific. So there's a lot of time I dedicate before practice to going through the practice schedule and the individual scripts offensively and defensively, really identifying what schemes do I have to really evaluate in person and what players do I really have to see do certain things on certain days, and making sure that I map out my own time of why I float drill to drill at a certain point in practice.
And is there anything you want to improve on further moving forward?
Yeah, everything. Absolutely everything. I want to find better ways to coach my players, better ways to set up, scheme within games. I want to make sure that we're efficient on time management at all points. I always want to find better ways to practice. We're really not stuck into any specific drill or routine. I'm always looking for inventive ways and better ways of doing things. So, watching as much tape around the league, seeing what different teams are doing, talking to as many resources as I have, I just got to keep finding better ways to help the players on the field and help the coaches off the field.
Thanks, Joe.
Jordan.
Hey, Joe. I'm just curious what you guys thought when you heard that all the charges were dropped against DeAndre today.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I've been pretty busy all day as far as watching tape. Pat Hanlon gave me kind of a quick bullet point thing before I walked in here. I saw that. Look, wishing the best of luck in the future. Really, we've made the decision we think is best for the program. That's what I would say about that.
And on a separate note, what makes you guys so successful, or Daniel so successful with that zone read? And what is it? Is it opposition-based, or is it something in particular that makes him good at it?
I think the coaches are doing a good job in terms of setting up the schemes based on who we're playing. It's never exactly the same thing. It's similar in nature, but there's different versions of it. And I think it just comes down to the blocking the offensive line creates, the threat of the running backs going vertically with the ball, and then Daniel's ability to read it and pull the ball and make some yardage with his legs on the edge. So it's never one person. It's a good call at the right time. It's good blocking up front. It's the threat of the running backs running with the ball, and it's Daniel's ability to execute the ball in his hands. So it's all the pieces have to come together. But it's something we've been able to make a strength for us. We want to continue building on that and use it, when the opportunity arises in each game.
Kim?
Was that Kim?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Dion. Thank you. Hey, Joe, this isn't meant to be a weird question at all, but the way your team played against Washington and Philly, was the way they played enough that you would have seen progress? And the win obviously makes it all the better, but I think you know what I'm getting at. Did they perform in those games to a standard that alone would have pleased you?
Yeah, I wouldn't stop short and say that anything of we've arrived. I don't think we ever want to look at something and say, like, okay, we've gotten to the point we want to be at. There's a lot of improvement we want to keep making. There's a lot of things we have to clean up. I would say this, though, Kim, on a weekly basis, I've seen a lot of improvement from our team, and to me it's most evident when you turn the tape on. Look, there's several plays from yesterday that really encapsulate, what I want our players to show everyone who watches that tape, and it's important they look at it. Whether it's, Wayne's touchdown on the 4th and 1 where we drove everyone into the end zone and finished the blocks, or Wayne going over the top with good ball security, whether it's, converting some tough, get back on track situations. Defense getting off the field when they have to, special teams covering kicks and establishing field position. There are a lot of positive things that, to me, the effort, the urgency. Look, one of the things that, we've emphasized as a team, Kim, to be honest with you, that showed up yesterday that I was very proud of is, you see when our players score, everyone running into the end zone celebrating with them. That's important to me. It's not a hot dog thing, but, we don't really want individualistic celebrations. We want the team to celebrate. It's not about one guy getting in the end zone. It's what did the line do to block to get you down there? What previous plays you celebrate? It could be a receiver having a touchdown catch. All right, well, the running back should go down and celebrate because he had runs previous in the series that helped get us down there. The offensive line's a part of every play. The quarterback's obviously a big part of every play. So we want the team celebrating together, acknowledging that it takes all 11 on the field every time to be successful, and takes everyone on the sideline as well, to be part of it to be collectively successful.
If I could quickly follow up, when you come back, particularly from the bye, will you mention the division race to your team, or do you do that? I mean, it's there. Someone's going to win this division, and it certainly could be you guys. Will that be a bullet point of yours?
No. To me, the importance needs to be just improving as a team. All that other stuff will take care of itself. We've got to come out. Listen, Cincinnati's a good team. All right, we got to get ready to go ahead and improve ourselves internally, and then turn the page and move on to Cincinnati and get ready for a tough game out there. We got a tough stretch of games coming up. We can't go ahead and start looking at rankings and division races and all that type of stuff. We just have to focus on getting better each week, and that's what will ultimately help us in the long run.
Thank you, Joe.
All Schwartz.
Hey, Joe, I've got two quick ones for you. Coming off what Kim said, so you say that, you've continually said that this, division race is irrelevant as far as what the records are. But do you sense, some of the players don't think it's irrelevant. They're excited that they can have a share of first place. So do you think they can balance that with going about the business of improving every day and still have that carrot out there that there's no team in our division that's 8-2. We can win this thing.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, one of my core beliefs, Paul, is, motivation to me is an individual thing. But as long as you're working for something and collectively it raises the team, that's a positive thing. You know, look, it's professional football. I don't care if a guy's working for a paycheck or a guy's working for a championship. If both guys come out and they're giving their best every day, that's going to make the team better. So whatever motivates these guys, that's great. My job as the head coach is to make sure they understand the big picture goal. And right now, to me, that's improving on a daily basis and getting to be the best football team we can be at the end of the season. Again, all that other stuff takes care of itself.
One more quick one. You were asked about Daniel Jones and the zone reads and things earlier. The more he runs, obviously, the more of a punishment he's going to take. He is big and strong, but he's not bigger and stronger than a lot of linebackers. So how do you balance that? He took some pretty big hits near the goal line against the Eagles.
Well, listen, Daniel's a tough dude. That being said, we don't need him to take just unnecessary punishment. All right. We've talked to Daniel. A lot of times there's a time to lower your shoulder and get the extra yard, and there's a time to step out of bounds, slide, and protect the ball. I think he's made pretty good decisions in when he's had to lower his shoulder. Yesterday was a very competitive game. There were a lot of positions he was in with the ball where there wasn't really an opportunity to just slide and get down. A lot of them were close to the goal line. A few of them were on third down situations where he had to really go ahead and drop his weight and try to get that extra yard to get the first down for us. So we've talked to him. I think he understands that. He's done a good job of balancing that out, but he's definitely an aggressive, very competitive dude. He's a tough-natured guy, so he's definitely a guy you got to pump the brakes on a little bit more and kind of try to take less hits off him. He's not the guy who's going to shy away from contact at any point.
Thanks, Joe.
We'll take two more. Tom Canavan and Bob Glauber. Canavan.
Hey, Joe. How you doing?
Good. How's it going, Tom?
Good. I couldn't help but notice late in you're in the victory formation yesterday, and there was kind of like a little bumping after one of the kneels. And I couldn't help but notice you colorfully told your guys to get back in the huddle. Is there a point where you stop coaching and you just enjoy?
Look, at the point you're referring to yesterday, we don't want our players getting mixed up in anything, it's going to be a penalty, to be honest with you. At that point in the game, you're kneeling the ball down, you're trying to run the clock out. The worst thing you can do is create a penalty and stop the clock. And that's an advantage you can give to the opponent. So, look, we don't want to do anything stupid. There's that fine line between sticking up for yourself, sticking up for your teammate, and then just crossing that line, doing something dumb that's going to give the other team an advantage with penalty yards and stopping the clock. So for us at that moment there, the smart thing to do is just get back, get away, get into the huddle, come back out the next play, kneel it down, then we can all go shake hands and celebrate in the locker room.
Thank you.
Last one here, Glauber.
Tom, I didn't realize that was on TV.
Joe, when you first took the job, you talked about putting out a team that represented the people of New York and New Jersey, being tough-minded. Do you feel like you're starting to see, or you are seeing that with your team? Yeah,
absolutely. You talk about our team, one word I use all the time is resilient. And, when I think about people in this area, blue-collar people work hard every day. It's, obviously a very competitive area to be in. That's what you have to be up here. And, look, we want our guys to be successful on the field, but it matters to us how we're successful. Okay, we want to play with the right attitude. We want to play, a tough brand of football. We want to run the ball, stop the run, cover kicks. We want to go out there and be able to play in tough elements and be successful. We're not going to be a team that, makes excuses or comes back and say, hey, we had them, but this happened instead. That's not the way we're made up. That's not what we're going to do. So, I think we're getting closer to putting a product on the field that hopefully people can, see themselves in, and that people are proud to put on, those blue caps or, T-shirts on Mondays and go to work, and celebrate that they root for the Giants. And that's something that's very important to us here. We want this team to be about the area, not just about the guys in the building.
And just one unrelated question. On your clock management, it seems very solid. Have you studied that over the years? And who may have said, kind of underscored the importance of that?
Yeah, I'd say probably the first time I really got into it was when I took the job in New England, and I started becoming more involved with it. College is much, much different in terms of clock management, and it's not really as emphasized as probably it should be in a lot of ways. Coach Saban was very thorough in what he did. I just wasn't personally involved in that part at that point. When I got to New England, part of my responsibility was tied into a lot of the situations as far as being part of special teams. It's really a large part of what your job is. And your job and responsibility grows over time with that. So, just say over the 8 years of being there, my role and responsibility in terms of in-game, clock management or input in how we could better manage situations grew. And that's obviously something that, I emphasize for myself in how I can help the team. I'm not calling offensive plays or defensive plays and T-Max running the kicking game. So there's a lot of things throughout the game I look to help with making adjustments or having an overview on things, talking to coordinators about the flow of the game or big picture concepts. But to me, controlling the clock, the timeouts, things of that nature you know, that's really where I can make a positive impact for the team.